Burnout has become the price of belonging in a world that celebrates achievement over alignment and that treats stillness and rest as if it was weakness. Stillness and rest are so important for our bodies to regulate, for the nervous system to regulate. The life that you've built is not a reflection of what you truly, truly want in life. We're over giving and we're under receiving. We're giving a lot in our jobs. We're giving a lot to our families. We're giving a lot to our partners, to children if we have children, but we're not receiving. Welcome to Blisstopia podcast. I'm your host, Mercedes Castellani, life purpose coach, business owner, and your spiritual guide on all things mindset, manifestation, and purpose. This podcast is a space for deep reflections, meaningful conversations to help you expand your mind, dive into the depths of your soul, and create a life that makes you feel alive. Whether you're walking, driving, or simply vibing, take a deep breath and get ready to dive. Hello, my love. Welcome to another episode of Blisstopia podcast. I'm your host, Mercedes Castellani, life purpose coach and spiritual guide, helping women align with their purpose and create wealth doing what they love. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that has become way too normalized. We see it so often and we've gotten used to this, which is burnout. And I have not been through a burnout myself. So as I record this episode, I usually like to share episodes where I share my experience on something so that you can learn from my experience. In this case, I haven't experienced a burnout myself, but over the years, I have had many clients who came to me during a process of burnout. And that burnout was actually the catalyst to them saying something needs to change in my life. I've built a life, I've built a career, I've built a business that is not a reflection of what I actually want. And these moments of burnout, they come as a wake-up call. Of course, they are extremely hard, but they come as a wake-up call to say, hey, you need to reassess your life. You need to reassess your career. You need to reassess your priorities. You need to change things. So again, all of this wisdom that I'm going to share with you, it's basically information that I have learned, things that I have educated myself in, but I have not experienced burnout myself. But I wanted to touch on the topic of burnout because it usually does send a very strong signal that says, actually, you're not aligned. Actually, you're not aligned with your purpose. Actually, the life that you've built is not a reflection of what you truly, truly want in life. So I decided to create this episode for you. We're going to dive right into it. There is a lot of things that I want to share with you in terms of what burnout is, why do we experience burnout, the stages of burnout, and what to do when you suspect that you might be having a burnout or you've been diagnosed with burnout. So let's get right into it with what actually is burnout. And burnout is not just being tired. It's not just being stressed. It's chronic emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion. So your body, your heart, your mind are literally exhausted, depleted. And this doesn't come overnight. This is a process that starts, and I'm going to share with you all the different stages that a person goes through until we actually fall into the collapse of burnout. So this is a process of prolonged stress, prolonged misalignment. It's years of stress, years of misalignment. It's not a couple of months that can create a burnout. It's years of not listening to your body, not listening to your heart, not listening to your soul that will then lead eventually to a burnout. So basically what happens is that the nervous system really gets in survival mode and your soul starts feeling numb because you've neglected your body, your soul, your mind for so long. Eventually, it's like your whole body, yourself, it just shuts down. It gets completely numb. And it's not because you're lazy. It's not because you're not motivated. It's not because you're broken. It's not because it's a failure. It's because you're depleted. You've given so much. You've given so much to your job. You've given so much to your family. If you have a family, you've given so much to other people, to other places, that you've kind of forgotten about yourself and what you, your heart, your soul, your body truly, truly needed. So it's basically your soul saying, actually, the way you've been living up until now, it's not sustainable. Something needs to change. The life that you've built, the career that you've built, the business that you've built is just not sustainable anymore. Something must change. So the burnout comes as a sign from your body, from your soul, from your heart saying, stop, we must change. So the issue with burnout is that we see it so often. There is so many people who are either on burnout or who are on one of the stages of burnout. And we've just made it so normalized. It's just so common. And the issue is that companies are actually pushing people to burnout. Companies want to get fat margins, which is totally fine, but they're doing this at the expense of their employees. So they're squeezing people. It's like you're a lemon and they're trying to squeeze every drop of your brain, of your ideas, of your time, of your energy. They're literally squeezing people. And with an economical context that is getting more and more complex, they're squeezing people more. So companies are squeezing people. We live in a culture that literally glamorizes exhaustion. So when you're doing, achieving, it's a badge of honor. Being busy is a badge of honor. It's seen as a good thing. So we're doing. The whole culture is telling you, you should be doing, you should be achieving things, you should be productive. So the whole culture is glamorizing that doing. There's no one actually glamorizing resting, listening to your intuition, chilling when you need to chill, stopping when you need to stop, pausing when you need to pause. So the companies are squeezing people. The whole culture is telling people more, push. And if you're not pushing enough, you're not worthy. And then something very specific happens with women. And I do have a lot to say about this because if you really think about it, our great grandmothers, some mothers, they were taking care of the home. They were taking care of 3, 4, 5, 6 children, but they were only taking care of the home, only taking care of the children. And nowadays, women are expected to continue to take care of the homes, keep all the mental load in their head of all the things that need to be organized in terms of food, in terms of cleaning, in terms of the agenda of the different people in the house, all of the bits and pieces that come with running a house and taking care of children. So women are still expected to do all of those things, and they're also expected to work. So let me tell you, I think this is the worst deal ever. The worst deal ever. Back in the days, if you have the deal that our grandmothers had, great grandmothers had, they were staying at home, they were taking care of the children. I don't know, you can take a nap in the middle of the day when the children are in school or whatever. You can do things for your home. And then in the evening, maybe you relax and you wait for your husband to come home. Fine. That's totally fine. Or you become completely career oriented, completely business oriented. And then in that case, you're just focused on that. You're bringing the money in, you're the breadwinner, and you go all in on that. You go to the office, you forget about the home, you come back at whatever time and everything is done for you. But I think the worst deal ever that women have right now is that they are expected to do both things. They are expected to work like a man, go out, work, bring income to the house, whether that's half of the income, 50% of the income, or whether that's a part of the income or even more than 50%. Women are sometimes being the breadwinners because now, of course, we have education, we have careers, we're extremely capable, and women are sometimes bringing more than 50% of the income. They're bringing 50% of the income or maybe a little bit less, like 40. But we're still expected to, first of all, get pregnant. with all of the energy that that demands and all of the changes that creates in our bodies during the pregnancy and after the pregnancy, we are expected to, if you're going to breastfeed the children, then breastfeed the children. Then we're expected to carry all the mental load of, oh, this child has this birthday, we need to take him or her, we need to buy the present. What time do we drop them in the birthday party? What time do we pick them up on the birthday party? So it's the worst deal ever because we're expected to do both. And then if on top of that, so you have companies that are trying to squeeze people, you have a culture that is glamorizing exhaustion, doing, achieving, being dysregulated, having a dysregulated nervous system. On top of that, as women, unless we pay attention and we are very, very, very clear with our partners and we have a very clear negotiation as to who's doing what, and we make sure that that is fair and we make sure that that also reflects how much money everybody's bringing to the home. Unless we have a proper negotiation, we sit down, we evaluate everything, we divide everything, and we make sure that that matches also the amount of money that we're bringing home. Unless we do all of that, then the system is set up for us to fall into burnout. And then on top of that, you add a specific personality, right? You add a personality that is very driven, that has a lot of power, that has a lot of masculine energy, that wants to achieve, that know that she can, and she will. So she will push herself, and 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 she will push herself until at some point the body says, stop, you cannot push me once more. I cannot do this anymore. So burnout has become the price of belonging in a world that celebrates achievement over alignment and that treats stillness and rest as if it was weakness. Stillness and rest are so important for our bodies to regulate, for the nervous system to regulate, for ideas to come, for us to take perspective on what we want in life. Do I actually want this? Do I want something else? What do I actually want with my career? What do I actually want with my job, with my business? So all of these things, companies, society, patriarchy, a specific type of personality traits, all of these things are actually pushing people to burnout. So of course we see it more and more often, and we are going to see it more and more often. Because yes, patriarchy is diminishing. So in the next 10 years, that part will get better, but companies will get worse. They will be squeezing people even more in the next 10 years. As AI comes and everything is going to be changing, there's going to be a lot of layoffs. So the companies are going to squeeze a lot more the employees that are going to remain inside of the companies. So this, if we're not careful, if we don't say stop, if we don't say that's enough, if we don't say no, the context is actually pushing you to burnout. So let's talk about the causes of burnout, the root causes. So first we've talked about, okay, this at a macro level, at a society level, this is what is happening and this is why people tend to fall into burnout. But now let's touch on the root causes at the individual level. So what is actually happening when a person falls into burnout? First of all, there is chronic stress and overcommitment. So the person is saying yes, 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 yes to everyone and everything to avoid disappointing other people. There can be some people pleasing in here. We want to people please our boss, our multiple bosses. If we have multiple bosses, we want to please our partner, we want to please our children, we want to please our friends, we want to please our family. We're trying to please everybody but ourselves. So we're saying yes to so many things. We're putting our energy in so many little baskets, and we're not leaving enough energy for ourselves. So what this does is that the nervous system is going to be dysregulated because we've spread ourselves too thin, and we're going to be living on adrenaline rather than alignment, where the nervous system is literally nervous, and we're just running on adrenaline instead of running on alignment. I actually want to do this thing. I actually want to organize this birthday. I actually want to do whatever it might be. I actually want to do this project. We're running on deadlines and we're running on adrenaline and we're running on urgency instead of running on alignment. I actually want to do this thing. I'm going to do it because it's fantastic. It just sounds fantastic. The second thing, which is also related to this, is lack of boundaries. We are, again, saying yes to everyone, saying yes to everything. We're over giving and we're under receiving. We're giving a lot in our jobs. We're giving a lot to our families. We're giving a lot to our partners, to children if we have children, but we're not receiving. So what this creates is that our cup, it's completely empty. There's a phrase that I love from the UK that says, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Well, we've been pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring that at some point, the cup is completely empty and we're still trying to pour something out of that cup. And we're not receiving something to replenish that cup. So we are giving so much to other people because we're not setting clear boundaries. We're not saying, no, I'm not going to do this. Or can you do that thing, please? I cannot handle one more thing on my plate right now. Can you take care of that, please? Whether that's in our jobs, whether that's in a business, whether that's in our families. So there is a sense of we're not protecting our energy. We're not setting clear boundaries, clear limits to protect our energy. And our energy is truly important, is our resource. And we're just saying yes, 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 yes. And that energy is being depleted because we're not setting boundaries. Also, we're ignoring the body. So the body is trying to send signals, right? The body is super tired. The body is sending headaches. The body feels anxiety. We start feeling physical symptoms, but we're actually ignoring all of those symptoms. We're overriding, the mind is overriding the body. So there comes a point when we've ignored the body for long enough and the body says, you know what, stop. And that can be a panic attack, that can be a serious illness, that can be a shutdown, that can be different things. When the body says, you know what, stop. You're not gonna ignore me anymore. You've been ignoring me for way too long. And then the fourth cause, and the one that shows us that something needs to change, is that we are disconnected from our purpose. And sometimes the burnout can come from this disconnection. So it's not that we have a lot of work. The issue is that we have the wrong work. So when your daily actions, what you're doing in your daily life, doesn't align with who you really are and what you actually want and what you actually care about, there's a lot of energy that we're burning just trying to pretend someone that we're not, trying to achieve things that we don't even care about, to be honest. I don't give a shit about that project. I don't give a shit about that deadline. I don't give a shit about that new milestone that the company has settled, but I'm still going to do the thing. That takes so much energy, that pretending that you care, pretending that you're going to do the thing. So when we're out of alignment with our purpose, when our soul is out of alignment with our purpose, we're consuming so much energy to be doing things that are so forced. So when you find your purpose, on the other hand, once you find your purpose, yes, maybe you're going to be putting in the hours, but it is so rewarding and you literally love what you're doing. So even if you're working hard, things feel meaningful. You're doing this because it's something important. It's something that you care about. You truly, deeply care about. So many women come to me during a stage of burnout where they've been disconnected from the purpose for a couple of years, but it was fine. You know, it was uncomfortable, but it was fine. You can handle it. And then at some point, the body starts feeling very tired. And then at some point, you start feeling a lot of anxiety. And then at some point, you start feeling the headaches. And then at some point, you try to rest and take holidays, but it's not working until at some point, the body says, stop. And that stop, it's very difficult And I do want to acknowledge and I do want to send a huge, huge, huge hug to every person who might be listening to this episode and who's going through a burnout right now. I'm sending you the biggest hug with all my love and all my compassion because it is so hard. But I do also know, and I'm also excited for you in a sense, because I do know that when it gets really hard and your body says stop, it's the opportunity for you to take your time, really sit with yourself, really assess your life, your career, the way you've been living up until now. And now you can make changes. And once you're going to make those changes, you're going to be so peaceful and happy on the other side of things. So it is hard, but maybe this is the way the universe is rearranging things for you. Maybe this is the way the universe is saying, hey, you've been disconnected from your purpose from so long. Let's change this. And let's change this now. And yes, it hurts, but it's going to push you to make important changes that you've been postponing for years. So let's talk about the 5 stages of burnout. Because as I said, this doesn't happen overnight. It's a long process. This takes years to really install and develop. So the first phase is the overachiever phase, which when you look at it from the outside, it looks fantastic, right? No one is scared about this. You're full of passion. You're going to take a lot of tasks. You're going to overachieve. You're going to say yes to everything. And you feel good actually on this phase. You will actually feel good. You're going to be like, yes, I'm going to do it. Yes, I'm going to smash it. Yes to this new project. Yes to this thing that I'm going to take on at home, and I'm going to be responsible for this thing as well, etc., etc. So you're taking a lot of things on your plate. You're saying yes to everything. You're saying yes to many things, but you feel good. So far, there's not an issue, right? The second stage is you've taken a lot. So you have a lot on your shoulders. So this is the stress accumulation phase. And basically, you start to feel the pressure and you start to feel very irritable, but you keep pushing. You know that it's hard. You know that it's hard, but you know that you're tougher. It's tough, but you're tougher. So you feel the pressure and you go all in. You push. You push through things. It's hard, but you push through things. You have a lot of work, but you push through things. You have a lot to do at home, but you push through things because you're strong and you know you can do it. And of course you can do it. Now, the issue is you cannot do it all at the same time. Do it all, the job and the house and this and that and the other thing, or all the projects. If you're not a mom yet, or you don't want to be a mom, then maybe you have a lot of work and you've taken a lot on your plate. Then we move to stage 3, which is the chronic fatigue phase. And basically, here what happens is that you sleep, you try to rest, you go on holidays, but you don't feel recharged anymore. It's like the fatigue is way, way deeper than just sleeping or just taking holidays. It runs deep. It's like your body is literally depleted and you sleep 9-10 hours and it doesn't work. It's still there. And you go on holidays and you come back and you still feel the fatigue, even though you've disconnected, even though you've rested, you still feel the fatigue because now the fatigue is running deep down and it's running at the level of your nervous system. Then we move into the 4th phase, which is the disconnection phase. And basically, in this phase, you start feeling detached, numb, and you start questioning your purpose, your worth, because you haven't listened to yourself for so long. It's kind of like you disassociate from yourself. If you don't listen, why even have a relationship with myself? Let's just detach, numb, forget. I don't even exist. I don't even matter. Let's just push. And you begin to question, is this my purpose? Is this not my purpose? Shall I change my job? And you feel this sense like you're losing the trust in yourself because you've broken your promises so many times that you start stopping. You stop trusting yourself. You stop trusting your worth. And then the final stage is the collapse phase, when basically your body or your mind just say stop. And that can be through an illness, that pushes you to rest. That can be through panic attacks that force you to stay at home and you can work and you can take care of your family. Or it could be a total shutdown where your body, your mind says, stop. So, as you've seen, this is not a process that happens overnight. It's a slow process of self abandonment until the body actually reclaims the reins and says, stop, we're not doing this anymore. It's like the mind has been running the show and the mind says, push, 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 more, more, more. And the body's like, but I don't want to do this, but I'm tired. Push, 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 more, more. And then your soul says, but this is not what I want to be doing. I want to be doing something else. This is not fun. I want to create something else. And the mind says, push, 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 push. Doesn't matter. Push, push, push. And we're putting things in the back burner. We're putting things in the back burner. We're putting things in the back burner. The mind is running the show the entire time until the body says, you know what? Stop. Stop. Stop with this job you don't care about. Stop with this job that is squeezing every drop of yourself and your energy. Stop with the organization that you have at home that is completely unfair. Stop. Stop. So that's when we are going to go into burnout. But the way I see it is I never see it as a failure. When a client, a prospective client comes to me and she's in burnout, when a friend is going through that, someone around me is going through that, I never see it as with a sense of failure. I see it with a sense of, okay, it's time to recalibrate. Okay, fine, it's happening. It's time to recalibrate. It's time to make changes. It's time to make changes in your job. It's time to align with your purpose. It's time to change things at home. It's time to change and shake things up in your life because what you've been doing up until now, it's not working for your body. So it's time to change. So what to do when we think we might be having burnout or you've been diagnosed by a doctor with burnout? But before we dive into that, I want to share my experience. I think in terms of the stages, the 5 stages that I was just talking about, in my experience, the closest I've been to this, it was stage 3, so chronic fatigue. And this was back in 23. This year, it was a combination of things, but I still had my job as a marketing director. On top of that, I was building my business. So what I would do was Monday to Fridays, 9 to 6, I would work on my corporate job. I would close that laptop and then at 6:10, I would open my personal laptop and start working on my business. So I was working every evening, every weekend. And I basically did that for several months in a row. In my case, I had realized that I was not aligned with my purpose. So I decided that in order to be aligned with my purpose, I wanted to build my own business that was way more aligned with what my soul came here to do, which is to help other women be happier. And I was working, I had a job as a marketing director. So you can imagine I had a lot of responsibility. The amount of work was actually okay because I had been in that job for 3 years. I had a whole career in marketing. So the working hours were fine. The workload was fine. The issue was the combination of things. The issue was that I had a very demanding corporate job in terms of the responsibilities. On top of that, I was building a business every evening and then every weekend. So I had no rest. And then on top of that, add a little mix. My father was going through a serious illness and eventually he passed away in November. But during that whole year, he was in intensive care since January until November when he passed away. He was in intensive care for 11 months. So my family was going through this horrible thing that generated a lot of anxiety for everybody. My mom was back in our hometown, taking care of him every day, going to intensive care every day. My brothers and sister, my brother, my sister, and I, we would travel as much as possible to be there with him and with my mom. So my whole family was going through this horrible thing that I do not wish to anybody. So it was just a lot on my plate. holding a business that I didn't care about, holding a job that I didn't care about, creating my own business, and then dealing with this whole family situation all at the same time. On top of that, I had started dating with someone that later became my fiance. And that relationship was going fantastic, but that relationship needed my time and my investment in order to develop that relationship. So I'm an overachiever. I started pushing, 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 pushing. I've got this. I'm going to do it all. I'm going to be the marketing director, and I'm also going to be the founder. And I'm also going to be there for my mom and my brother and my sister and the rest of my family. And I'm also developing this relationship with a fantastic man. And I did that over the whole year. And at some point, I think I went very quickly through the stages because it was very intense. So I think I went very quickly through, there have been years of misalignment with that job, 3 years at least. And then the amount of work that I had on top of me and the amount of emotional pressure that I had around me was just a lot. So over the course of that year, I accumulated a lot of stress. So I went, maybe it was a couple of years that I was in stage 1, just not feeling aligned with that job. Then that year, a lot of accumulation of stress because I was holding a job I didn't care about, setting up a business, dealing with the whole family situation, starting a new relationship. And I started feeling very, 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 very tired. And I think, so I was really lucky to have a fantastic partner by my side and to be so lit up by my purpose. And I think that's what saved me. And I didn't go into stage 4 and stage 5 because then also at some point I said goodbye. Like, I'm not doing this job anymore. I said, I need to stop this. I need to stop this. This is not sustainable. I need to put my energy where my energy really wants to be, which is building a business, dealing with the whole family situation, supporting my family, being there for them, being there for me in that difficult situation, and then developing this relationship with this magnificent person that came into my life. So I aligned things, I moved things, I got rid of that job, and then my nervous system got regulated. Eventually, the situation with my dad was resolved, not in the best way, but there was an end to that situation as well. We dealt with all of that. I don't want to dive into that topic now, but the job ended. The situation with my father eventually ended. And I was able to focus all my energy in building a business and investing time in this beautiful relationship that was developing. So I have felt this, I have felt up to stage 3, but then I reshuffled things in my life. I realigned and I didn't go into stage 4 and 5. But I do understand the feeling. I do understand the feeling when you feel completely depleted, you have no more energy, and you still need to push through. So, what do you do when you suspect that you might be in one of these stages, or you've been formally diagnosed with burnout and you're taking a sick leave right now? So, the first step is to pause. Take this pause that you're being offered by your employer, and actually take a pause. Take a pause to acknowledge, okay, what happened? Why did I get into this situation? What led me into this situation? Because awareness is the first step of any healing journey. So let's be aware. What happened? Why did I get into this? What is actually going on? What is my body trying to tell me? And I would invite you to stop gaslighting yourself, telling yourself that this is nothing, that it's going to be okay, that you're going to push through, that you're just going to take 1 month and then you're going to be back. No, take it seriously. Your body is asking for you to really listen, really listen for once. So take this pause and really acknowledge, okay, there's something happening here. Something needs to change. Something must change. And let's start thinking, what could it be? Step number 2 is to rest without any guilt. And I'm talking about radical rest, like actually resting, not productive resting. Because something that can happen when we're an overachiever and we want to do things, right? It's okay, fine. I don't need to work. So I'm going to redecorate the whole thing. And then I'm going to do this thing for my children. And then I'm going to start this new personal project. And then I'm going to, no, 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 no. No, you need to rest. You need to literally rest, which means be on your bed, do nothing, sleep as much as you need. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Eat healthy food. If possible, that you're not cooking. Let someone else cook for you. Rest, sleep, watch a movie. Do stupid stuff, except being on your phone, because that's not really resting. But just do stupid stuff. You can read, you can watch a film. Just lay down in your bed and chill, rest. So what we want to do here is we want to let the nervous system reset. So we're not pushing anymore. We're not forcing anymore. We're not fixing anything. We're just letting the nervous system wants to be in balance. It wants to be in balance. But there's been stressors out there that didn't allow the nervous system to be in balance. So let's remove those stressors. And the nervous system, it's going to come back to normal on its own. It's going to take time because it's been years of dysregulation. It's going to take time, but the nervous system will come back into its own balance. So once you've taken this pause, you've rested. Now it's time to reflect. Okay, let's get real. And you can journal on this, for example. Let's get real. What feels heavy in my life? What feels forced? What feels fake? What things do I actually like? What things I don't like in my life? What things do I enjoy doing? What things I don't enjoy doing? So the question for you over here would be, where in your life are you living out of obligation and not out of inspiration? That job, those tasks that you're doing at home, is that an obligation or is that inspiration? Where have you been pushing yourself because of the obligation and you haven't been following what your inspiration wanted you to do? The fourth step, and I really, really help my clients with this one, is how to set boundaries. We need to learn when we're in the process of burnout, we need to learn to say no. Because as I've explained, we cannot pour from an empty cup. We've been pouring from the cup. First there was tea, then there was very little tea. We still poured. Then there was absolutely no tea. We still poured. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to let that teacup be there and we're going to pour some tea into it. So that tea is the rest. That tea is nourishing food. That tea is things that you actually want to be doing. Maybe it's sports. Maybe you've been wanting to read a novel and you've been postponing that novel. Maybe you've been wanting to actually sit and think about the business that you want to start. So we're just going to let that teacup there and start pouring some tea into it. But we need to get very, very good at saying no to everything that is not aligned and to everything that doesn't allow you to pour more tea into that. If there's something that takes away your energy, we need to say no. If there's something that is out of an obligation, we need to say no. If there's a rearrangement, whether that's in our jobs or whether that's in our families, there's a rearrangement. There's an arrangement that is unfair or that is no longer working for us. And we realize, you know what, this is just not working. We need to say no. We need to say no in our jobs. We need to say no to our partners. We need to say no to our families. We need to say no to our friends. We need to get really, really good at saying no. So if it's not pouring energy into you, it's a no. You, at this stage, you need to be protecting your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Your energy is your currency. So you need to be protecting your energy like it's absolutely sacred. Then step 5 is to reconnect with your purpose. And this is also where I help many clients in getting clear. Okay, what is your purpose? What are your priorities in life? What are your values in life? What do you actually want? Not what society tells you that you should want, not what your parents expect from you, not what your bosses expect of you. What do you want? What do you care about? How do you define your own purpose in life? Why were you put on earth? What are you supposed to do with this existence, this beautiful, fragile, magnificent existence that you have? What did you came here to create? Who did you came here to be? This is, of course, a deep spiritual, philosophical identity question. So I help my clients get really, really, really clear on this point. What's your purpose in life? What are your priorities in life? And then we need to take very small, aligned actions day by day. We're not going to change everything right now, but slowly, 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 it's like you're on a boat and you've been navigating in a direction that wasn't where you wanted to go. You wanted to go to the little island that is there on the right, and you've been navigating towards the land that is on the left. So once we realize, I actually want to go to the little island that is there, perfect. We're not going to change completely the course of your navigation overnight. We're going to do small changes, 2 millimeter, 2 millimeter, 2 millimeter, 2 millimeter, until at some point you're headed straight into the island where you actually want to be. So we're going to preserve your energy first. We're going to say no to everything that is not aligned. You're going to understand what you actually want to be doing. And then we're going to start making small shifts little by little until everything is aligned with what you actually want and need. And then, of course, step number 6 is, if you haven't done this yet, to seek support. And here you're going to need different types of support. So I would recommend having 3 types of support. First, medical support, to make sure maybe you have a doctor that your work is providing or that the government is providing. You might need a doctor. You might also need a therapist to talk about these things, talk about the feelings and the stages of burnout, and just go through all of this. And you will also need a coach, because yes, the doctor is going to clean what's physically there. The therapist is going to help you clean what's emotionally there. But then in order to really reflect on the future of your life and where you're headed and what's that island for you, you're going to need a coach to look into the future. That's when I can support you. So I can help you set the boundaries, establish what's aligned and what's not aligned for you, and truly reconnect with your purpose and start moving in the sense of your purpose. So, of course, as everything, you're going to have your support. This is going to take some time. It's taken years for you to be in this situation. So now it's going to take some time for you to get out of the situation. But I do want to close this episode saying that if you are in one of the stages of burnout, or if you've been diagnosed with burnout, I want you to know this. This is not a failure. This is your awakening. And I do see burnout as the breakdown that leads to the breakthrough. So it's hard. It is extremely hard. And I do acknowledge that. And I'm here with you. But also, I am so excited for you, because from the back of this pain, in this pain, there's your purpose. In this pain, you're going to come back home to your purpose, to your body, to your peace. You're going to be able to realign with who you really are and what you really came here to do on this lifetime. No more wasting time. No more pushing yourself in a direction in which you don't want to go. It's not your direction. That's not what you want to do. So burnout is hard, but also it's an opportunity for incredible transformation. So let's remain hopeful that there's a lot of peace, a lot of joy, a lot of alignment, a lot of purpose on the other side of this burnout. And yes, it's hard, but you're going to learn things. You're going to shuffle things in your life. You're going to shuffle things in your career, and you're going to be a completely different person on the other side. And that person will be much more authentic to who you truly are, what you truly want in this lifetime. So yes, it is hard, but this is also the way the universe, God, however you want to call it, is reshuffling things for you. Things needed to change, and now they are changing, and they're changing for good. So if this episode spoke to your heart, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, leave a 5-star review on all of the platforms, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, all the platforms where you can find this fantastic show. If you know a woman who's going through this, who's in the stages of burnout or currently going through burnout, send her this episode with the heart and let her know that you're thinking about her, that you're sending her so much love and so much compassion, and you're there for her. So thank you so much for tuning in this week. I will see you next week for our next episode. And in the meantime, in Blisstopia we trust.